Archaeologists have been studying artifacts since organized communities began, and they continue now. Several incredible artifacts are found every year to bring new information to us about the past. Stockholm has a long and rich history, and a new treasure of silver is showing more of the details of that history. The coins are medieval, and the first treasures from the medieval time period to be found in the city. It is also one of the largest to be found in the country, and the 13 pounds of coins and jewelry dates to the 12th century. It is estimated that over 20,000 coins were in the collection, and the copper cauldron that held them is disintegrating and became damaged over time. Some of the coins are marked with the text Knutus, which connects them to the time of King Knut Eriksson and dating them to the end of the 12th century, while others are marked as a bishop coin from the Middle Ages, when they were minted for the bishops and the image of the bishop holding a crosier is present on them. After over 100 years of no new coins being minted, King Knut began to make new coins again, all minted in Sweden, while he also was working to end paganism and spread Christianity, which led to a volatile situation. As the coins are mixed with jewelry and other goods, it is believed to have been the property of a wealthy family, who had hidden it during the upheaval and never returned for it. Most often when a hoard like this is found, it is close to other artifacts, so further excavations are hoping to find additional items. Another treasure was found in Romania, at the archaeological site in Mangalia, which included jewelry, harness fittings that were made of silver and gold, textile appliques, 2 vessels of gold, and 2 more of silver. Each of the vessels are comparable only to 2 others that have been found worldwide, both in royal tombs. They were found during excavations at the necropolis in the ancient city Culloden. Within the tomb was a burial mound 40 feet high and with a diameter of 230 feet. Not only is the tomb the largest Hellenistic one in the country, it is also artfully designed and advanced in its architecture. Believed to be for a Greek family and member of the elite, the excavation has returned evidence of extravagance both in life and in death, even after being looted early on and then rebuilt and restored. Along with other grave goods, there were some extraordinary finds, including a large amount of alcohol, remains from textiles and human remains, gilded bronze funerary wreaths with berries made of ceramic, mounted on a stand. Ornaments of both glass and bronze were also found, along with evidence of sarcophagi and other items. The date of the arrival of Homo sapiens is now in question, with a recently found skull that was dated to 1 million years ago. If this date is accurate, it will prove that they were present 400,000 years earlier than what was thought previously, changing the entire history of people. As a skull that was thought to be Homo erectus was reanalyzed, it was found that it is instead from Homo sapiens, and the knowledge gained from further study is showing a different path for evolution than the one that has been expected. While it was thought that the divergence of the branches began 800,000 years ago, but the studies from this suggests that the process began much earlier, and that the relationships were more complex than how they have been viewed so far. The skull is from central China, and it was so highly damaged that it was difficult to piece together or to identify, and advanced technology is available now that was not at the time, changing how it was seen. A famous portrait of Marie Antoinette has been revealed as being not of her, but her sister. The portrait is Maria Carolina of Austria, who became the Queen of Naples in her adulthood. And this changes the known image of Marie Antoinette, leaving people to seek other childhood portraits that would be of her. Used in biographies of Marie Antoinette, the painting is listed in the Musée d'Art et d'Histoire, was painted in 1762 by Jean-Étienne Lyotard. A small detail on the pin that is being worn by the subject of the painting has been determined to be connected to an Austrian dynastic order, which would only be provided to noble ladies who are Catholic. As the older sister, Maria would have received this pin years earlier than her sister, who would not have one until after the painting was completed for 2 years. In contrast, a second painting by the same painter was found that was attributed to Maria, but has now been determined to be Marie, offering a substitute image for the incorrect one. In the second painting, she holds a rose to her chest, which is something that was common in her portraits throughout her life. Stone Age artifacts shed light on a time period that was filled with change and evolution of lifestyles. An ancient site that reflects life in the Stone Age, Tas Tepler, a group of sites including Karahan Tepe and Göbekli Tepe, Turkey. An 11,000-year-old stone pillar was found to have the face of a human carved into it. Standing 4.5 feet tall, it is the only one that has been found so far during excavations in the area, even though there have been several other pillars found at the site. Previously believed to only be support structures for the temples and other buildings at the site, the T-pillars are now being considered to symbolize humans in each of the carved pillars. Others that have been found previously had carvings of arms and hands, garments, and animals, though none showed the face. The one pillar that did have a face within the engraving was found in a residential home rather than a business, which also contained tools, grindstones, handstones, and both mortars and pestles. At the site of Karahan Tepe, there is evidence of it being populated for 1,500 years before it was buried and abandoned by the citizens, and the dates suggest that people settled much sooner than has been believed, with farming and husbandry going back further than expected. Treasure hunters have long found shipwrecks to be a main source of both artifacts and income, which was shown once again with a Spanish shipwreck in Florida. Over 1,000 coins, both silver and gold, were reclaimed from the wreck by a salvage company. The ship itself was from 1715 and was one of a group of ships that are located in the same area, each part of the same Spanish fleet. There was a fleet of 11 ships that were carrying jewels, gold, and silver when a hurricane wiped out the fleet. Each of the coins is still showing the date that it was minted, all of them being made in colonial Spanish regions including Mexico, Peru, and Bolivia. Along with the coins and other treasure, there was a royal seal found from Philip II of Spain, which would be used for signing important documents, including land titles. Finding the seal on the boats and along with the coins is creating a connection between the ships and the administrative process of the empire. Each of the artifacts will be cleaned, restored, and displayed. As landmass is moved and changed over millions of years, there are areas that were lost to time. One such area was found that may have created a land bridge between Ayvalık and Europe. Paleolithic tools have been discovered in an area underwater that appears to have not always been submerged, suggesting there was a way to pass from the Ayvalık coast in Turkey to Europe. There were 138 tools found spread out over 10 dig sites, showing it wasn't just a once-passed site, but a path that was used often and for several years. It is one of the explanations for how people got from one place to another when they were so far apart and with limited choices. In Shandong Province, China, a new discovery of structures dating to 3,000 to 2,400 years ago have been determined to be ritual structures. They were built to allow Chinese cultural identity to be shown in gatherings and at ceremonies. These ceremonies would help to shape the culture and help younger generations learn about their past and future, while also providing the basis for unifying politically. Political unification began in the Qin dynasty, with the first emperor when he gained power in 247 BC. Beginning by providing standardized measurements, writing, and other aspects of daily life, he continued building connections across all of the empire to allow everyone to work together and towards the same goals, simplifying communication, travel, and cooperation through having just one system for the entire empire. Both political and economic stability could be achieved. Until this point, the groundwork had been laid by those previously in leadership, including investing in infrastructure, creating new technology, and integrating ideological ideas. Each of the structures and platforms were created specifically for open spaces and for the gathering of the community for rituals, celebrations, and gatherings. Residue from feasts, food, and wine were also found around the site, showing not only that they occurred, but also the meals that were shared and how they celebrated. Tombs are often raided and looted before they are located or excavated by archaeologists. But one tomb in Kala necropolis has been found untouched. The necropolis lies to the west of Grozny in Chechnya, and all of the grave goods and other treasured items remained undisturbed until the excavation. Several of the other burial mounds at the site have been looted, and the richest were targeted first, making the items in this tomb both rare and valuable for the information they represent. Treasures that were retrieved from the tomb were dated to 2,500 years ago, and included a range of valuable and rare items that were bejeweled, tourmalines placed in gold, a jeweled horse harness, bladed weapons, metal vessels that were imported, and garnets. This Alani grave was for an elite member of the community, and not only were items made from high quality and expensive materials, but also with the highest skills by the best crafters. The presence of horse harnesses suggests this may have been a military officer who rode horses into battle. Along with learning about this one individual, the location of the grave and the grave goods is representing the burial traditions that were followed by the community. At another burial complex in Israel that has been dated to 3,300 years ago, and it is so well preserved that the grave goods excavated are sure to help with the understanding of their lives before they passed. Unearthed during a construction project, the tomb was found when the roof was broken through, and the rock-cut tomb was opened. Situated at the port Mahazu, where trade and travel were accessible and the city was thriving, the chamber is carved into the sandstone on the coast and is 21.3 feet square, and has a supporting pillar in the middle with an arched entrance and 10 individuals buried within. Both adults and children were found within, situated along the wall, either supine or flexed, and with them were a wide variety of grave goods. Over 140 ceramic vessels, gold earrings, a Bess vessel, and inscribed scarab were all among the items in the chamber. The pottery was a collection of both items made locally and others that were imported. Previously, it was thought that, perhaps due to the heavy looting of other graves, that the area had only modest burials and community members, and this extravagant burial site is changing that expectation. With such a variety of burials, there must have been a thriving community with people of all economic backgrounds and situations. Ongoing excavations at the Tel Kurdu Hoyuk archaeological site in Turkey have uncovered a rare set of footprints. Dating to 5,200 BCE, it is a set of 5 human footprints, which are evidence of people being in the area, and from these it can be determined how they walked and carried their weight. The stride, positions, direction, and other details can share a great amount of information about their lifestyles. At the time of their creation, they would have been in mud after a heavy rain, allowing the prints to form and then remain undisturbed until they dried in place. These prints are connected to the Ubaid culture, who were a defining contributor to the development of society in the area. They are most known for having some of the earliest farms, making pottery that is distinctive to their own methods and designs, and signs of early urbanization. These details are key to understanding the evolution from nomadic lives to settlements and agricultural centers. Footprints are a very rare artifact to find from humans, and especially during these time periods, and these are so well preserved they are offering an unprecedented view into their lives. Another location in Turkey is offering insights into the lives of the Phrygians. A temple that was built 2,700 years ago is expected to have been for the goddess Matar, or Maturin. While this was a Phrygian goddess, she was also worshipped by Greek and Roman culture. The site was found near Denizli and has a cave that has 2 rock idols which are carved into the face of the rock between structures, drinking bowls, drainage channels, and other evidence that the space was used frequently and by many people. As they were in the area from 1200 to 650 BC, there were hundreds of years for their settlement and temple to be built and used. And this is shedding a lot of light on their religion and cultural practices. King Midas is their most widely known ruler, and the additional information will help to fill in details of his reign as well. The Battle of Culloden, though almost 280 years ago, is one of the most talked about battles in Scottish history. A section of the Inverness battlefield has not been excavated yet, and that is about to change. Just north of the memorial cairn for Culloden is the spot where the Jacobite forces were situated and where they began their advance. In the 1950s, there was a project to plant a commercial forest in the area, and they remained until the 1980s, leaving the space open for grazing cattle and wild vegetation. Small trenches and pits will allow access to the lower layers of the soil, and metal detectors in place to find where to dig and pick up any metal artifacts that are large enough to trigger it. This is a common way that coins and jewelry are found in many countries. Each step will be conducted carefully and with great respect for the site that is a designated war grave. The battle occurred on April 16, 1746, when Prince Charlie attempted to reclaim the throne of Britain and King George II's army defended with 1,600 men were lost, 1,500 of those being Jacobites. Archaeologists are hoping to find evidence of the battle and the staging areas, including grape shot, lead balls from artillery weapons, pieces of clothing, and any other items left behind. Two burials in England are gathering attention for their roots, with DNA revealing they are West African. One of them is a girl, and the other a boy, buried in two separate cemeteries on the south coast. Each of the cemeteries are from the 7th century CE. One is located near Kent and the other in Dorset. While the vast majority of people were from Northern European or Western British and Irish roots, these two showed that they were unrelated, but both had grandparents or great-grandparents from sub-Saharan West Africa. The first of the pair was an 11 to 13-year-old girl, and her mother was from Northern Europe, but 20 to 40% of her makeup was from Africa. Further, they narrowed it down to the current groups of Yoruba, Mende, Mandinka, and Isan. The other was a boy, who was part Northern European and sub-Saharan, with a less precise result. These results are changing the expectations around what time that the two cultures began to mix, and the travel of people during that time period. It was expected that they would not have interacted until the 15th century, with this new information changing a large part of history. Saqqara necropolis in Egypt is being excavated and providing more mystery than answers. A limestone relief was found that is 4,000 years old and said to have been cursed, once decorating the wall of Kentika's tomb. Kentika was an Egyptian official, and he was buried with a mastaba tomb that had a flat top and sides that sloped gently. The relief disappeared, and no evidence of where it is now. On the relief, the images were of the calendar of the Nile flood that occurred yearly and provided much-needed water to dry areas. Measuring 16 inches by 24 inches, it was separated into 3 seasons for agriculture known as Akhet, Proyet, and Shomu, which match to inundation, planting, and harvesting, following the levels of the Nile River. The tomb is also said to have an inscription intended to prevent looting, warning thieves they would be punished by the gods. It is also unknown how it was removed from the site, before being discovered missing by a British archaeologist who was working on the site. Reports say that the tomb was sealed in 2019 and hasn't been opened since, creating a time window for it to have been taken. 60 ancient tombs in Turkey are providing a window into time 2,200 years ago. These tombs are located in Colossae and are revealing many artifacts that are adding to the understanding of that time period. As the largest necropolis in Anatolia, the tombs are surprisingly well preserved and contained to such a specific area, which is unusual for other tombs in the region, where they are not so dense. Of the 65 tombs that were located, there were 60 excavated, each being a roughly cut shape that is carved directly into the rock. Near to natural travertine formations, the tombs and the community made the best use of its layout and resources, with the stone supporting agriculture in the space and providing a burial space that doesn't take from the agricultural lands. Grave goods also provide insight into the culture, and these grave goods included amulets, charms, and stones, each of which are believed to provide protection and healing. This focus shows they were concerned with the safety of their loved ones in the afterlife and wanted to ensure they would be protected. The city itself was of great importance during both the Roman and the Byzantine eras, widely known for wool and textiles, and working as a trade center. Much of the city was damaged or destroyed in the 1st century AD by an earthquake, and after having been rebuilt, suffered another in the 7th century. A new species of ichthyosaur was found, which has been called the Xiphodracon goldencapsus. Reaching 10 feet long and sporting a snout that is shaped similar to a sword, it was found as a complete skeleton fossil. It was found along the Jurassic coast in the UK and was a marine reptile living with the dinosaurs. Dating placed it in the Pliensbachian time in the early Jurassic period, around 193 million to 184 million years ago. Studies are ongoing to learn about the evolution of this animal and how it interacted with plants and animals around it. Evidence on the teeth and limbs suggest it was seriously injured or suffered from disease during life, possibly bitten by a much larger animal at death. Further studies are hoped to solidify the link and evolution of the ichthyosaurs both before and after this species, as there is little known about that gap. While oil lamps are used less frequently now and the oil comes pre-packaged, in the Ming dynasty, there was a time period when people would mix their own lamp oil to produce one that was long-burning, clean, and created a bright light. A porcelain lamp has been determined to be 600 years old was uncovered in Shanxi province from a tomb in Nantou village during the Ming dynasty of 1368 to 1644. Several fuels were found in trace amounts within the bowl-shaped lamp, including linseed oil, mutton tallow, and beeswax. Other lamps have been found previously, but they did not have residue that could be tested, which makes this a rare find that is showing how the lamps were powered. By combining these three fuels, they would have had a bright flame, reduced levels of smoke, and a pleasant smell from the burning lamp. It is unknown if it was an attempt to conserve fuel or if it was intentional for these results. Alternatively, they could have each been used separately at different times when one or the other was more readily available. The lamp would have been lit and used in the tomb during the burial ceremony, being left there when the ceremony ended. Lamps would often be left lit to lead the departed to the afterlife, and would go out after the tomb was sealed and the air diminished. At a minimum, it shows that there was a wide range of materials and resources available, as the owners had access to each of these fuels, and that there was no one fuel or one way to use a lamp. Originally, lamps would use animal fat, but it was found to be bad for health and to damage the eyes, leading to new fuels being sought with wax insects being expanded for candles and then lamps. And in the 10th and 14th centuries, vegetable oil was most often blended with wax for the best result. In Crimea, at the Artesian archaeological site, ancient graffiti has been uncovered from beneath a large slab. By studying the graffiti, researchers are learning about the dynamics in the community, the cultural expectations, and the religious symbols. It was found beneath the altar at the temple, which was dedicated to Zeus, on a plaster slab that had been hidden in that location since 45 CE. The location suggests that it was hidden intentionally, and while the reason is not known, it may have been for rituals or magic. Of the inscription, only 6 letters are still present, making it impossible to translate or interpret. Suggestions have included dedications to magical spells to a prank. A pair of temples near the Krishna River in Telangana, India, have been dated to the Badami Chalukya era, at least 1,300 years old. They are an example of what was occurring in the Hindu dynasty at that time. Each is very well preserved, and they are showcasing the architectural style of Kadamba Nagara, and the rising steps lead to the riser, while the influence of the Rekha Nagara are seen in the curved tower. One temple has a Panavatam as a base for the Shiva Lingam in the sanctorum, while the other houses an idol of Vishnu. These temples are the only known examples of the mix of styles and how they worked together. Inscriptions have also been found around the site that provide context and represent what was important in the minds of the people using the temples. One of the inscriptions has been dated to the 8th or 9th century CE, and has roughly translated it to reference a hero or heroic title. Several different types of materials have been used to make jewelry since ancient times. And in one find, it has been found made with dog teeth. During excavations in Saxony-Anhalt burials were discovered, and the grave goods included jewelry items and those of personal adornment. The site was found when work was being done to prepare for a new pipeline from Gleina to Mukellen, and has resulted in the locating of 3 settlements and several burial mounds. No connection has been found between the settlements, each of which are from the late Neolithic period. One of the burials was found to have 99 animal teeth around the skull of the woman buried, and they are believed to be canine teeth, which were once worn as a headpiece or as a necklace. Several of the teeth had been discolored with green, suggesting to the use of copper or bronze on items that were in close contact with the teeth for an extended time, as it would be in jewelry pieces. It is believed that if this is the case, the metal has corroded and disintegrated. A homeowner in New York had a surprise when they found a complete mastodon jaw in the backyard. Along with additional fragments of bone, which have not been pieced together, it is a very rare find in that it is a whole section, rather than pieces of the jaw. Early investigation determined that it was an adult at the time of death, and the teeth found nearby are expected to be from the same animal. Also found were part of a toe bone and pieces of a rib. Excavations were to continue in hopes of finding additional bones, and then studies will be conducted to determine how old the bones are, the age of the animal at death, the diet, and if it had lived in the area. Megalithic monuments found throughout Arabia remain relatively unknown, and researchers are trying to change that. Made of stone walls, they have more mysteries and create more questions than they provide in answers. Things that are unknown include how they were made, what they were made for, and when they were built. One section that is a 114-foot triangle shape that was created in phases and is believed to have been used for rituals, both funerary and commemorative. Human remains, objects, and local tombs were all studied in the process of determining the use of the platform. Snakes have been around since prehistoric times, and the recent discovery of a 50-foot snake fossil in India is allowing researchers to learn more about how they evolved over time. The shale beds in western India have provided an ideal environment for fossils, and a fairly intact one has been found. Stretching to around 50 feet and weighing over 2,200 pounds, the snake is one of the largest that has ever been found, and rivals even the titanoboa. It was found in the Panandro lignite mine within a layer of shale that dates to 47 million years ago. 27 vertebrae were found, and they were well preserved, allowing for a recreation to be done digitally. It is believed to have a thick body in a cylindrical shape with wide vertebra, and that it would wait for prey to cross its path, rather than go hunting for them, as it would be too large to move quickly. The fossil is also providing information on the environment that it lived in and the food it ate, including the warm climate and lush vegetation that would allow it to grow so large, and also provide a great variety of prey animals in the vegetation. Marking the solstices and the equinoxes was important to the passing of time, and for rituals, weather, and agriculture, among other considerations, of course. A recently discovered sanctuary in the Netherlands has been found to mark both effectively and accurately. Dating to 4,500 years ago, it consists of earthen mounds that align with the sun on solstice and equinox, and similar to Stonehenge, it was used for both burials and other rituals. Over a period of 800 years, burials occurred at the sanctuary, and this has left many remnants of the mounds and ditches, along with a flat burial field, and this was all found nearby to an ancient farm. In the largest burial mound, archaeologists found remains of both men and women, along with many children from 2500 BC and 1200 BC. In other burial mounds, cremated remains were also found, along with several others with skeletal remains. The Hindu dynasty of Hindu Shahi or Kabul Shahi was active from 850 CE to 1026 CE and reached the Kabul Valley in Afghanistan and Gandhara, which is now Pakistan, Afghanistan, as well as into northwestern India. A temple connected to this dynasty was found, the Temple of Sri Vishnu, and it is believed to be 1,300 years old. It is located at Barakat Gundai, and the excavations have found several artifacts. Among the finds were traces of watchtowers, cantonment, and a water tank. Other sites nearby have also revealed several finds, though they are rare due to the destruction that occurred at the end of the 11th century when there was a shift in control and religion in the region.